if memory serves me right, we were planning on investigating the bandits.
Yes, we
to
were.
the west, I think it was.
Then we shall do it! And I get up and I run out of the tavern and start running west.
As you look, it's actually a large log, probably weighing near a ton, suspended on some kind of pulley system. As you look over, you see the rope kind of goes down over, and there seems to be some kind of tripwire between two trees that you were 5 feet away from walking through.
Because we don't want to be caught in it, so we're essentially disarming it by triggering it.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go. Compromise.
Then I'll just grab my good old sickle and just cut the rope that's easiest connected.
Ooh, that would have hurt.
Yes. You wait in silence, waiting for something to happen.
I hide.
Yes, you all hide.
Yeah.
In 30
How long
seconds.
has it been, so far
Oh,
walking?
not terribly long, probably. You've been in the woods about, I'd say, 5 minutes.
Okay, perfect. I'm just checking for paths without a trace, because I think that's an hour.
Yeah, I think it's a full hour, but it's concentration. So.
Yeah.
So you continue to wait. It's been about 30 seconds, a minute. And then after about 2 minutes, you hear just in the faintest corner of your hearing, which sounds like muffled voices kind of arguing. You all continue to wait, and you watch as two individuals come out of the woods, walking towards the careening log as it comes crashing down. They're dressed poorly with raggedy clothes and what looks to be burnt robes. One of them has a cloak that's made of rough woven material, but the edges of it are badly singed, like it's been in some kind of fire recently. Both he and the other one, they have these very similar garb and dress, just very ramshackle and scorched. And the one looks to be clean shaven, like both with a shaven head and a shaven face. But he also, as you get closer and closer, you can begin to observe from around the tree, he does seem to have burn scars all over the top of his head and the side of his face. As they come into full hearing range, you begin to understand they're arguing about this trap. The one says to the other, oh, that's such a dumb trap. Some rabbit probably set it off again. You should really make it more sensitive, or less sensitive to pressure, so that we can actually catch someone once in a while. He's like, oh, it'll work one of these times. I didn't chop down that tree for nothing. So they go about going over to there, and then they start together trying to pull that log back up using their pulley system.
Wait, so they don't notice the fact that I cut it from that rope?
No, they're more aggressive towards each other. They've obviously been annoyed with this thing in the past.
Okay.
They're not actually examining it much at all. They just think it was triggered. But as they're just talking and arguing, trying to get this thing back up into the air, and they're currently straining with it. What do you guys do?
Do you want to go for it?
No, we're gonna follow them back to their
I
camp.
get the idea. Okay.
That does seem to be a fair plan.
Okay. So after a good amount of time, they manage to hoist it back up into the tree. As they bring it down and they're trying to retie the string itself, there's a moment's pause. The one guy's kind of straining, holding it in place. He's like, "What's taking you so long?" He's like, "The rope. It got cut or something. This wasn't a rabbit. This is a clean cut." And the guy's like, "Well, that's weird. I didn't know rabbits had knives." And after that, they kind of look at each other and they're like, well, maybe someone's around here. And they quickly he ties it off around the tree and they pull out swords and they start to just fan out, seeking out any intruders who might be nearby.
Maybe waiting was a bad idea.
Don't question the plan.
The plan seems to be going poorly.
So
Your mom seems to be going poorly.
are all three of you still hiding?
Aaron's feeling
Yeah,
yes.
we have to be, I think, within 30 feet of each other?
Yeah, within 30 feet.
Okay.
So,
And you're hiding. The only place to hide is behind tree trunks. So you're currently behind a
Can I have
tree.
climbed a tree?
You could have, yeah.
I want to have climbed a tree.
Okay, you climbed a tree, so you're up in the tree branches. The one that's over this one, so actually, for the sake of doing this, I'm going to draw some trees, and then we're going to actually have you try and hide from them, because otherwise it might get complicated.
Okay.
And
excited for trees.
as wood elves, we can hide even when lightly obscured, so
Okay?
that is a thing that I've never actually used before.
Nor have I, because this is my only wood elf character.
I played multiple, including the one that I gave up. the stupid
That's-
accent.
I try not to do too many repeats.
All right.
So can you please tell me where you guys would have been hiding
Yeah.
to
So I'm-
observe this?
So I can be centralized between the two.
I was like in this tree as long as it was close to you.
This is the tripwire where the
Okay.
trap was.
Yeah.
I could be hiding at the base of that tree, and then
Okay.
you can be.
I'll be right here.
How many is each of these grid
5
spaces?
feet. Assuming.
So actually, because the size of these, they're 2.5 feet. So one, this is 5 feet, the full
Okay.
size.
So
2.5, 5.
yeah, that's 30.
Yeah, it's definitely 30.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So as you're doing that, they begin to fan out, looking left and right, kind of scanning around, seeking out where that might be. I want you guys to make another stealth check.
Absolutely.
You have advantage,
But-
Kel, because
And then also pass without a trace.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I only got 3 better, but 8 plus 17 is still 25.
Yeah.
I'm at
3
21.
plus 22 is 25.
21.
Okay. So
Boy, the DM's just loving this,
yeah,
isn't
it's
he?
wonderful.
Pass without a trace. It's.
I rolled a 20.
I just have the most annoying spells for you, don't I?
So they continue to go seeking
Your spells
around.
and my ability.
Actually, they have advantage on that, but doesn't really matter. Nope, not good enough. Not even close.
Yeah,
So
they need nat 20s.
they continue to seek, and as they basically go around, you just keep going in circles around the tree, keeping the tree between you and them. You're up in the tree; they don't even look up there.
It's very Looney Tunes, isn't this?
It's pretty odd. But after a solid 2 minutes or so, they both reconvene back in the center and just kind of shrug and sheath their weapons, resume arguing, and just kind of make their way back to the camp. The other guy says, "I'll get some more rope and we'll fix it later." And they start heading off further, deeper into the forest from where they came.
Shall we give a bit of space between us and then follow?
Keep them in eyesight and then start following, yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay? So you continue on your way, making your way deeper into the forest.
And as we're following, I just turn to Kel and whisper, I told you it would work.
Sure.
Okay, so you follow them the best you can. As you go, they continue arguing for a while. I'd say about 5 to 10 minutes pass as they seem to be taking like a very circular route. It seems like they're doing this thing where they're attempting to go back and forth and obscure what their path may normally be, trying to prevent people from following them back to their camp. But you're close enough that you can follow them without any issue. After 5 minutes or so, they turn and they seem to be heading straight for what looks like a clearing beyond the edge of these trees. The one goes through and says one final word to the other guy. The other one, before going into beyond that edge of the trees, you see him just kind of hunch over for a second and shakes a little bit. All this bushy, reddish brown fur erupts out from his surface of his skin, and he sprouts this long, fluffy tail and sort of morphs into this large were-squirrel creature, which rapidly runs up the tree and then like scurries away into the branches near the edge of that perimeter of the tree. That's it. You can't see beyond the edge here. You'd have to get up to the edge to see into the interior.
Did that guy just turn into a were-squirrel? Or a squirrel? What?
I'm very tempted to just chase the squirrel.
I'm very tempted to hunt the squirrel.
I'm very tempted to change into a squirrel as well. See if he's a druid.
Should we get the squirrel and interrogate the squirrel? See if we can make him turn back into a human?
Boy, that's not something I thought we would hear, or I would hear when I woke up this morning, but
Wait.
yeah, let's go for it.
Wait, is it a human-sized squirrel or did he just turn?
It's a human-sized squirrel.
Okay.
Ooh, that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I don't think I could turn into a squirrel and chase after it.
I think we could take a human-sized squirrel.
I mean, we've taken down a vampire, a human-sized squirrel, small peanuts.
Wait, that was a vampire?
You could have gone for acorns.
Something like
but
that, yes.
I definitely got my neck bit.
Oh, okay.
So that's one of those things where if it looks like a duck and it walks like a duck.
One can assume.
Okay.
Should we go after the human-sized squirrel, or should we go after the other one and see if we can find their hideout?
Well, he went up into the trees and probably looking around, but probably looking deeper into the forest.
I have the most experience with this terrain, so
Yes.
I'll go in the trees and follow the squirrel, and you guys follow on the ground.
And this is like into, sorry, can you remind us of the scene? So one went into the tree, the other went out into an open field?
Right, so you're about
Yeah.
80 feet away. You see the thick trees they're very dense here, and up where that person had walked beyond the line of vision you have, there does seem to be some kind of wall of trees that opens up into some clearing. It's obscured by all the trees. You'd have to get up to the edge to see into it. The other one went straight up into the trees at that border and may have gone somewhere. You can't see him.
Okay. We can move up if you want to follow the squirrel person, but I think he's just heading back, so I think probably
Yeah.
just keep going.
I think either way, we have to stick together if we want to keep his shadowy thing active.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just not
Wanted to
happy.
follow the squirrel, man, but
Okay.
But that plus
For
10 to
the-
stealth,
for the-
though.
I mean, if we
plus
want,
12 anyways.
we can always follow the squirrel. We just have to all do it together.
Do you trust the Goliath trying to climb the tree? No offense.
Fair point.
Proceeds to climb. No.
He did say he could turn into a squirrel, though.
It's true, he did.
But I think that would stop my spell.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. It does not break concentration.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
it's not like you don't
That's
cast
why-
it again.
Yeah,
it just
that's
continues.
why so many druid spells are concentration, because they can keep going in wild shape.
Got it. So what are you guys doing? Are you guys
I'm ready to poof.
are you moving up to the edge to glance through, or are you going to climb a tree and try and do it anyway, but in the tree?
Kel would like to be in the tree anyway.
Okay. It's
But-
close enough now where like you can definitely go from tree to tree up in the limbs.
Oh, Kel would
It's
love
very
that.
dense.
Kel wants to hop tree from tree.
Okay. So roll an athletics check
Oh
real
dear.
quick to get up in the tree.
8.
Okay, so
I
you run
fail.
for the nearest tree. It's got really high branches, and you get a good running start, but you kind of slip on the way up on the bark, and you can't
fall
quite.
on it.
You just kind of fall down on your back.
I also go to climb a tree.
Okay, roll again athletics.
Just
for me.
watching this happen.
I have +8. And so 13.
Okay, you managed to just barely grab onto a lower limb and haul yourself up onto the first level. You're about 10 feet up now. You can keep climbing. These trees are quite tall. They get up to about 50 feet if you wanted to.
Kel is just cuddling Twitch and murmuring to her that she's such a failure.
Oh dear. So, do you guys go to the edge of the forest at this point, or what are you doing?
So the plan is that we're chasing after that squirrel.
I'm following
creature.
the were-squirrel.
Okay, so I'm just going to go, and all of a sudden I am now a squirrel.
All right, you're now a squirrel.
And for the sake of ease, I will carry you on my shoulder.
A heavily
Side
obscured,
note,
stealthy
how
squirrel.
how long does this spell last?
Which part?
1 hour.
Thank you.
Okay.
And
Speaking of which, you're about half an hour into it now, I would
okay,
say.
my squirrel, albino. Let's just go with that.
Sure.
All right.
Albino squirrel.
Yeah.
Why not?
Matches the gray of my normal skin tone.
Totally normal in this setting. Absolutely makes sense.
Exactly.
It's pretty snowy. Kel's gonna try and climb the tree one more time.
Okay.
DC
Do it one more
increased.
time.
Yay, there we go, 19.
Okay. So after taking a moment to breathe and focus, you're able to easily clamber up a better tree and get back up to the level with everybody else. Now you're all up in a tree, 10 feet up in the air, about 50 feet away from the border of this tree line.
Do we see the man-sized squirrel anywhere?
Roll a perception check.
What are squirrel stats?
Yeah.
I might need that player's handbook.
I wouldn't worry about it. It's like, I think you have like 2 HP and that's it. Like that's the full extent.
You know what? Let's just, for the sake of this, we're not going to have you roll perception or
21.
anything.
21 perception.
You have 1 hit point and your AC is 11.
AC is 11.
That's all that matters. If you want to
so-
if you want to do something, just ask me and I'll tell you what you need.
And I got a 14
Okay.
for perception.
Okay.
And I rolled a 17 plus whatever my
0.
0.
Yeah.
Solid.
Actually, you keep your mental stats.
Oh, wait,
as a
yeah,
squirrel,
yeah.
When wild shaped.
That's right.
So perception, you said?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's going to be +2, so that's 19.
Okay.
So 19, 21, 14.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't see anything. You two, you're looking in the direction of where the squirrel disappeared into the tree line. No, you don't see anything. It looks like he may have continued off around the perimeter of whatever this clearing may be. You don't see anyone in the tree line.
Can we see what's in the clearing, though?
You have to get closer, probably about 20 or 30
Foliage.
feet.
Perhaps we should do like a spiral in,
Spiral in?
like around the clearing in the trees.
Just like
And
start going around.
Yeah, like start going around and gradually get closer to the clearing so we don't miss anything. It's either that or just go in a straight line, in my opinion.
At this point, I'm fine with just going in a straight line. So I was just going to signal up and over. So go up a little more in the trees, and we proceed to head towards the clearing.
That works for me. Roll stealth one more time because you've changed your terrain and your approach significantly.
And that's going to be
11,
That's going to be,
28.
I still have the plus 22, so 30.
Okay.
plus.
You're
everything.
fine. You're fine.
I was
So-
28 as well.
You get close enough now,
Clutch spell.
slowly stepping from tree branch to tree branch, making your way all the way to the edge where you can begin to see into this clearing. Ahead of you, as it opens up, you see a large open space filled with a variety of different moving figures kind of walking about. You see a couple campfires and what looks to be a giant pile of stuff, just like bags and broken carts, different things. You do see one cart that's off on the side. It's actually suspended by ropes up in like one of the trees that's in the clearing. It's kind of dangling down from it, like some kind of gargantuan hammock or something. It's just been suspended up in the air.
Looks like a chop shop.
Yeah, basically. It's just a bunch of stuff laying around and a bunch of individuals that look vaguely humanoid as far as you can tell from this distance. A bunch of individuals. Roll a perception check, whoever's in front. Yeah, you do it.
I don't know if I'm in front, but I might as well. Oh, no. 8.
Yeah, you can count vaguely. You think you see like four or five humanoids walking around out there.
Shout out to the 2 crew.
Do we spot any roughly or squirrel-shaped figures?
Roll a perception check.
So much perception going on.
13.
Nope.
Dang
you
it.
look around. They all look
Wait.
normal-ish.
Yeah, okay.
Vaguely creature.
Yeah, not
Humanoid.
humanoid from this distance. You'd have to go down into the clearing to actually see them clearly.
Do they seem to be like gathered around a central point, or are they kind of spread out?
It looks to be 2 or 3 squatting around. It looks to be like a table next to a campfire. There's 2 more just kind of walking around. You do notice the one that you were following is now walking like across the clearing, heading towards the large pile of random stuff just kind of piled up towards the far edge. That's about all you can see.
Can't get any advice from me except for.
I scratch his whittle nose.
Okay. So what are you guys doing? Got to make a decision here.
I'm so tempted to hold up Twitch in front of you and see if you can talk to each other. But I don't, because this is a serious stealth situation.
Definitely.
I'm
You're still like 20 feet away.
I'm hesitant to get closer at this point because we seem to be fairly outnumbered. Do they seem armed, all of them?
It's hard to tell. You don't know if
Yeah.
they've got like daggers or swords or whatever from this distance.
It may be true, but we have the elements on on our side. Most importantly, the element of surprise.
They do know that a trap was triggered.
Surprise.
Sure.
Oof.
Pat him on the back of the head.
Is like in the trees, do you think there's like a branch that could possibly support my weight?
Yeah, these are thick pines. Like the branches coming out that you're on right now, that'd be fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you ever seen those fat squirrels in the quad?
Very large, beefy squirrels. Yes.
Bold squirrels. As I like
Do
to call
I
them.
want to waste one of my 2 wild shapes? Ooh, by going out of this right now.
I mean, As a squirrel, you could probably get up close and do some reconnaissance.
Yeah, but once again, pass without a trace. So, but
I mean, if we stay stationary.
yeah. I think that's what I'm going to do is I'm going to start
Okay.
approaching. I'm going to hop down and crawl down and start making my way downtown, walking fast.
So you two up in the tree, you're still there. You stay hidden, nothing changes. You leave them and pass with the trace goes away, but you still have it on you. So you.
I wanted to make sure that they see me leaving, just simply because pass without a trace.
Right.
Because I was petting your head, I'm assuming I noticed.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're on my shoulder, so I can feel you scurrying down my leg.
So you make your way
We're still
down.
at 28 though.
You make your way down
Yeah.
to the surface, and are you staying in the trees? What do you want to do?
I'm gonna try to stay in the trees as much as I can, and then like once like I'm at the edge, I think I'll take a look there because I haven't done a perception check yet.
Sure. So you go all the way up to the very edge of the clearing, and now you can see everything with clarity. Everything's in front of you.
Yeah.
Roll ahead and make a perception check for me.
All right. And that's gonna be 10. And then I think my base
Plus 2,
is
was it?
plus 2, so that's 12. So
Okay.
not the best, but maybe lower DC.
Yeah, you don't really spot anything new.
Yeah.
You just see, you do count with certainty though, there are 4 humanoids in this clearing. 2 sitting around the table, the one you were following walking away, and another one which seems to be lounging on the pile of junk, just kind of like rummaging through a bag.
Okay. All right. I'm going to. Oh gosh. Do I go in for a solo stealth mission? Do it. All right. I'm gonna start crossing the clearing. Like there's grass in the clearing, right?
Yeah,
Or-
so
okay.
it's grassy. There's a couple pine trees out there, including the 2 large ones that this cart is suspended up in the air between, like a hammock. But the other than that, yeah, it's mostly just open grass, thick grass that's
Okay.
been kind of stepped on a lot.
So I'll do that and try to approach the hanging cart tree.
Okay, you make your way across the clearing, scurrying across the grass. It's slow going since you're a squirrel, but it's not. You're not in any way vulnerable. They don't judge.
Okay.
They don't think squirrels are out of place. You continue in all the way across this clearing, making note as you do. The individuals around the campfire, they're sitting at a kind of rough table, counting out gold pieces to each other and talking. As you go past, you hear a snippet of their conversation, and they seem to be talking about how that last cart that came through was a bit difficult to deal with. They had hired bodyguards, and they were a little more difficult to eliminate than the last group. They're talking about how taking advantage of the people on the roads is getting more and more difficult as people learn that there are bandits around. They just seem annoyed with that. You make your way past that, past the guy you were following, who's now made his way up to that pile of stuff, and he's talking to the other man up there. You walk past them, they just seem to be having a conversation. He's telling them about the trap that was triggered. The guy up there seems to be listening carefully and nodding his head, kind of looking around suspiciously. You continue past it all the way up to that cart, and you just see it kind of suspended 10 feet up in the air, or no, 5 feet up in the air, just kind of swaying in the breeze.
Okay, and you said it's connected by rope to 2 trees?
Yeah, it's suspended between 2 trees with
Yeah.
thick, heavy rope.
Okay, I'll scurry on up there and take a peek around.
Okay, so you scurry up the tree itself. You look down into the cart. Inside, you see what looks to be just piles of rags, but sticking out at the top of the rags, you see this large, thick-jawed, almost tusked face.
Alex, could you hand me the player's handbook?
It's you've heard of these and seen of these. This looks to be a sleeping ogre laying here underneath some blankets, just hanging out in this ramshackle hammock that he made from a cart and some rope.
Okay.
Lit.
I pee in the cart a little and then I scurry away.
Okay. So you manage to get back without any alerting anyone to your presence, super stealth squirrel, and you make your way back up to the trees and to your compatriots once again, enshrouding them in darkness.
How long has it been for Pass Without a Trace?
I'm gonna say it's at the very end of it right
Okay.
now.
Yeah. So I'll find a sturdy branch and I'll pop out.
Okay.
And I'm like, all right, well, Oh gosh, that was weird. Not used to that. Anyway, they have an ogre up in a cart, and there's 4 people.
You counted 4,
Yeah.
yes.
There's 4 people within that camp. I think the ogre's going to be the most dangerous.
Ogre?
Yes.
Where-
So there's 2 trees and then a cart hanging by a rope, and there's an ogre inside of it.
Did not think an ogre could fit in that thing.
Life finds a way.
Gonna be honest, this is quite surprising to me.
So we're going to have to find a way to deal with that. And that's probably the leader of the organization, if anything.
Are ogres generally smart?
No.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a leader. It might be the grunt.
Maybe.
Strong chance it's just something they give food to protect their stuff.
Yeah, strong boy.
So what are you guys doing?
Where are we dropping, boys?
I say we ignore the ogre as long as we can. Either that or take it out first. I don't want to die by ogre. That sounds bad. I don't want to be crushed.
do have a spell that might help you, Aaron. It's called Flame Arrows.
Ooh, flame arrows. I
So
like the sound of
basically,
this.
give you a nice pat on the back, and your next 12 shots, as long as I'm staying focused, have a fire attribute to it. So we could light some stuff on fire.
That's pretty sweet. I'm not
Let's
gonna
start a
lie.
forest fire, says the
No, no.
druid.
No. It's in the clearing. We're fine.
One thing I didn't mention is that large spots of the clearing have patches of dead grass.
Okay.
It looks to be, and one of the trees that the thing is tied to is badly burned. There seem to have been fires through this area at some point.
Forgot that the 2 bandit people
Boys
seem
are
to be burnt.
singed. Maybe they're scared of fire.
Well, they seem to still be here, so I would say they're used to it.
Maybe they're scared of fire. No, they're not.
Maybe
I mean-
Solaris cast a fireball when she passed by.
I mean,
Essentially.
she could have, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
Does there seem to be
game
any-
plan, guys.
Yeah.
Got to
Is
make some
I-
progress here.
I think we can handle it. I think it's just getting in there and getting the upper hand immediately.
Yeah, we need to take a couple of them out to start off with.
All right, well,
Does-
first things first, give me those flame arrows.
Yeah. So,
Let me get that flame.
So,
Does there seem to be any pattern to the burn marks, or are they just kind of scattered?
Look pretty random. They cover a good part of the clearing. So, yeah, there's really no pattern to it.
yeah. So I give you, I pat your back, and then I give 2 pats onto your quiver. So the next 12 arrows that you fire will allow you to do, I think, an additional 1d6 fire damage.
Ooh,
I'd have to
nice.
double check that if you pass me over the book.
Is that
Absolutely.
in PvP?
I think so.
Enjoy.
I will reference.
For some reason, I thought that was in Xanathar's.
Actually, no, it says EE. So,
Oh,
I don't
so
know.
that's the elemental evil.
Okay.
Here it is. Oh, it is in Xanathar's. I was right.
Ah, then I have it right here.
I have it right here.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. So, yeah, an extra 1d6. Because I'm casting it at 3rd level.
Cool.
So, yeah, I kind of look at my options for getting down, because that's a little bit difficult.
Large boy.
Yeah.
Yes, you can get down to the lowest branches and then like drop and drop down, but it's still a solid, like I'd say 5-foot drop, and you're a large individual. It might crash a bit if you were to land.
Can I try
poorly.
shimmying
Down the trunk?
Yeah.
Go for
Such
it.
a fun
Roll
word,
a
shimmying.
athletics check
Oh, yes.
to avoid
Oh, yes.
falling off.
That's going to be a +6. Oh, and that's a 3, so that's a 9.
I
Wow.
will say, as
I have
you
+6 to athletics. I have +8 because we're in the
How?
forest.
Yeah.
True. You're going down.
Rangers,
You get about halfway, and then you feel your grip slipping, and you
no.
fall
Oh,
the
no.
remainder, crashing down right on your feet at the base of the tree. It's a little bit loud, sort of like
Yeah.
sandpaper going down on the bark. You don't take any damage. It wasn't that far.
I very slowly put my fists down so it looks like a 3-point landing, hoping that these two didn't see
And
that.
I just look down and say,
Yeah, I just sigh and pinch my nose like,
So
Pitiful.
it made a little bit of noise.
Oh no.
Please don't make the sleeping ogre.
But it doesn't seem to be that any of the ones in the clearing have taken note. You're still, at this point, you're still in the tree you guys were hiding in, about 20 feet away from the edge of the clearing.
Okay. I'm gonna look over to Aaron and say, is it worth continuing in the trees at this point? Maybe try and get the drop on some of them?
How close are they to the edge of the clearing?
Not close. It's probably a good, like, 120 feet from the edge just to begin into the edge of, like, where they actually are.
And I'm guessing
Okay.
that's your upper range limit.
That's definitely my upper range limit
For what?
for my longbow.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely not for your longbow. Longbows have
We
long
have disadvantage
range.
on beyond 120 feet, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can do it, but just
Yeah.
has disadvantage.
Yeah. And I'm currently looking up information about
So
flame
it's
arrow.
what, like difference between range and effective range or something?
Yeah.
If I
Yeah.
remember right?
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Be told I don't roll that
guys,
well
what's your
usually,
plan?
so-
You gotta decide on something.
Should we try and
I
take
jump
out the-
down and run towards the clearing.
Oh no, oh no.
Okay, I like it. As you go,
A man of action.
no, it's great. It's great. I want you to roll initiative real quick.
Initiative. Okay, that tracks.
Yeah, all three of you roll initiative, please.
Okay.
20.
Last time I
Okay.
did this, last time something like this happened in one of my games, a character died.
Oh, that's a 17 for me.
That's a 12 for me.
12. Okay. So, yes, you go charging ahead. What do? I'm going to say you have your round. You can get there. It's 20 feet to get to the edge of the clearing. What do?
All right, I get. I've got 35 speed, so I'm gonna run as far as I can, take aim at the nearest bandit, and fire.
Okay. So
Literally, because I've got flame arrows.
So you run into the clearing, out in the open, 15 feet away from the edge, and you just draw back an arrow and take aim at the nearest bad guy, and go ahead and roll an attack. At this point, I would say, yeah, he is within your effective range. It's 120 feet. It's like exactly how far away you are.
All right. And I got a 7 plus 8 is 15.
Okay. Yes, that does hit. So go ahead and roll damage.
All right, damage is.
I'll give you a
what to
surprise
do.
attack
I
on
have
this
to, like,
as
run
well
in.
if you
I
want.
have no
Awesome.
ranged
That-
Which is just
I
advantage,
have
I guess,
darts.
for
That's
that.
a range
so
of
that's
20
fine.
feet.
Okay.
I have to spend like the first 3 rounds
So
just
7
running.
plus 3
Same.
is 10, plus the d6 is 2, so 12 damage.
Okay.
I hope you realize that you're alone out there now.
Yep. Well aware.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting. So then.
Oh dear.
Well, I'm just trying to keep track of the way that I'm doing this. This is not correct.
Oh no.
Okay. So,
That's not
how much
okay.
damage was that?
That was 12 damage.
Okay, so 12.
Wait, and that was plus the 1d6?
That was plus the 1d6.
Okay. Just double checking.
Yeah.
You watch as you shoot it out, the arrow catches flame and then arcs through the air, just and slams right into the back of the one that's been like sort of just sitting at the table. He just immediately goes flying and lands sprawled, prone on the ground. Flames just start to like spread out from where the arrow had hit across his back. The three individuals who are in the clearings kind of like stare at it for a second and look over at you, just standing out in the open, and they just go, ah! They pull out their swords and start like charging towards you.
I flip them off and yell, "Get bent, scum!"
Okay, so Clint, it's your turn at this point.
Okay. I guess I'm going to, I can dash, so that's 30 and then another 30 to get 60 feet. How far away am I?
So you're 40 feet into the clearing. I'm going to say that is 80 feet away from the nearest bandit.
Okay, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get close
Okay.
so I can push in next round.
Great. Okay, as you do that,
Oh no, traps.
you're fine.
Okay.
You're standing there
other people
looking
on
at where you just shot off that arrow. So all of a sudden, you hear this whistling noise in the air.
Damn it.
What is that?
This is why we don't rush in.
I recon though.
Recon does nothing if you just rush in.
That is a
I got 3 words for you, Cal.
12. 12 to hit?
Man of action. Nope.
Okay. So you watch as a crossbow bolt just comes flying out of like the tree line way off to your right and just lands right
that's
between
my
your
left.
feet.
Were-squirrel.
You just look at it and that's it. It just seems to be something coming from the trees.
Squirrel.
Then we have the individual, the other bandit that was at the table that you did not hit is charging forward. He's also going to dash to get to you. And that will be, he's going to move 60 feet. So now he is about within, let's say, 60 feet of you, minus 15, so 45 feet away from you. At this point, I'm going to draw it out because we're close
Yeah.
enough together where it can actually benefit from that.
All right.
Okay.
I should.
Move these real quick.